Balor. Let's put Sheamus on there. How about that?
Sheamus has been off of
Can I?
TV
Can
as
I?
well, and he lost cleanly to Sami Zayn just last week.
Can I just pop in for a
Go ahead.
moment? Right. The divide and everything like that, it's all good and everything, but as you both discussed, Vince McMahon has such a a mental depiction of how this system should work. I just don't see it as a fair divide. I just think that one half of it's going to get more attention than the other half.
It
I could
probably
see.
will do. Yes,
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from, but I will say, as someone who's been watching Raw and SmackDown since after WrestleMania, they have kept their word of pushing newer talent. They are pushing a guy called like Baron
Oh, I'm
Corbin.
not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying that because Vince McMahon cannot take his fingers off the rein, and he has to control everything.
But the thing is, I think this time around he has just a little bit. He's still keeping Roman in his position, but before they were saying that they weren't going to have Seth Rollins. At one point,
I don't
there
know.
was there was this whole thing kicking around saying that Seth Rollins wasn't going to come back and immediately go for the world championship
Right.
because they wanted to see how he fared, and how he was holding up and
I'll
he injured. But he's back.
It remains
and
to
he's
be
going after
seen.
the
It
world
remains to be
championship.
seen. I don't think this is an even ground. I think this is one-sided.
Here's where I will give you some solace, Dave, and kind of give you some hope. You came into wrestling within the last, I'd say, 3 years, correct?
Yeah.
If you go back to 5 or 6 years and see just how bad the WWE was in the sense of the types of guys they were bringing up from developmental, their quote unquote developmental, and where they are now, they've actually opened up themselves a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, I go back to what I said. There was a time where every guy that came up from their developmental was just a guy with abs and biker shorts. There was
And do you
just
remember when
nothing
Chris
about them.
Masters was a thing?
Yeah, you had guys like Chris, they're basically guys that were just big, roided up guys that just couldn't move, they couldn't wrestle, they were completely ignoring the independent scene. And within the last 5 years, I'll give them credit, they've opened themselves up. The success of Daniel Bryan, the success of
And
CM
Daniel
Punk, the
Bryan, they
success of the
tried to
Shield.
destroy
Well,
that.
then, let's call it. Call me a cynic.
Mm-hmm.
That's what is part of my brain because
Right.
I'm late to the party, unlike you guys. But call it then. Do you really think this is gonna work?
I'm kind of in the middle between you guys. You're kind of the extreme of my mindset of keeping things tempered, and Burhan is like the open to potential kind
I'm
of
the
thing, and I'm kind of
optimist.
in the middle. Yeah.
I'm the
Yeah.
optimist.
No, I
This is
see.
this
Thing
is the
is,
funny
though,
thing when it comes to me
I'm
and
not a
wrestling.
complete
I'm the
negative
optimist.
twat.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm not a complete negative twat, right? Believe it or not. But I don't know. Just because if I look at other aspects of life and stuff, when these things happen,
Mm-hmm.
equivalent to this, like businesses breaking down their, I'm not saying this by the way, but when banks break up their, dodgy area of their business and stuff like that,
Right.
I'm being a little bit cynical in the sense that it's wonderful on paper. It's really wonderful on paper, but
Okay.
I'll
Well,
say this. Here's what I'm gonna say. Give it 6 months.
yes.
Every big regime deserves at least 6 months to fail. I gave TNA a chance in 2010. I gave
by
them
the way,
six
when you say it
months.
like that, you sound like a communist dictator.
No, it's a regime. This is going to be
No, I'm taking
this
the
is a
piss,
huge
Miguel.
yeah, this is a huge paradigm shift, So we're going
You
to
know
see
where
where it
you,
goes.
but you know where I'm coming from, right?
Hmm.
Which is, take it with a pinch of salt because on paper it's wonderful, but in practice it's something else.
Right, right. No, I completely understand, and I want to give them credit. I want to give them the solace, but we got to see where it goes, which kind of, in a way, leads us into the big main event of the show and what I was kind of leading to. I've actually got the WWE roster at the moment up on my screen. And what I'd like to do is kind of give you guys throw it out there as far as who you guys think is going to go where.
Okay.
We'll go down the list alphabetically, and we'll talk where you think certain guys should go. If you want to put them on SmackDown or Raw, or just release them outright. There are some guys that maybe you just, given the talent that's budding up from NXT, there might be some guys that you may not think have a place. So, do you want to start doing that? We'll start alphabetically.
Go for it.
All right. Let's start with Aiden in English. One half of the Vaudevillains. SmackDown, Raw, or keep? Burhan?
I'd say they'll be on SmackDown as the Vaudevillains. I don't think they're going to be splitting them up anytime soon.
Yeah, and I meant to say SmackDown, Raw, or get rid of, not keep, because obviously that's redundant. Dave, are you familiar with the Vaudevillains?
Yeah.
Where do you think they would go? Where would you put them on? Raw or SmackDown?
By the way, thanks to you blokes, I'm not that much of a newbie anymore. I would say SmackDown for the same reasons that Bohan said, which is, yeah.
Yeah, that is another interesting aspect is the tag teams because the special belts like the women's title and the tag belts. There's been no specification on whether or not they're going to split those. It could be a situation where one show gets the tag team belts and the other gets the women's title, but we're not going to speculate that too much until further notice.
Apparently, from what's been speculated online, from sources within the WWE, air quotes, they're basically stating that the floats are going to be the women's and the tag titles. So both rosters are going to have women, both rosters are going to have tag division, but the champions will be floating over from roster to roster.
I could kind of see that. I mean, I figured they would. I figured they were not going to do that with the main event belt because that would be redundant. But
Yes.
I think you could do that with the tag belts and the women's title, especially how big those divisions have gotten. I think you can afford to do that. So we'll assume that for now. But I agree. I think the Vaudevillains are a good. I don't want to call them jobber team, but it seems like they're kind of
They're a good
Grinders
worker team.
is the word
They're
you're
a
looking
worker
for.
team.
Grinders.
They're the
yeah,
team
grinders,
that you know
basically.
will probably get the tag team championships, but will not keep a hold of them for as long as New Day have.
Yeah, they are basically one step above the Ascension, which we'll get to that. Next one is AJ Styles. Burham?
Ooh.
SmackDown, and he'll be their world champion.
Dave?
I don't want to sound like a kissing Burns ass right now, but yeah, I kind of agree with him on that one, which is
I am going to say this is interesting because
you're gonna say something controversial, aren't you?
no, I was honestly going to say Raw, and the only reason I say that is because I think the chemistry between Styles and Reigns is really good,
Well,
and
that's currently over, I think, at the moment, because now Rollins is in the picture. I don't think Styles is actually going to be fitting
okay.
in there. I believe he may be having Finn Balor and Joe are going to be on Wednesday. They're going to
Right.
be on the next takeover, but
Take over the end. Which, by the way, I
yeah.
kind of want to say something real quick about that. I don't think that's the end of NXT. Have you heard that rumor that because of the fact that they called NXT Takeover the end,
No,
that
it's the
people are
end
saying
of Balor and Joe's feud. That's what they
exact?
mean.
Yeah.
All
Anybody
right.
who thinks it's the end of NXT, you really stop over analyzing something, because if that was the case, they would have basically had Vince on like WWE.com put out a bloody statement saying that NXT was finished. And I think, to me, NXT is too important as a developmental territory to actually like just drop. It would be
Right.
stupid of them. But anyway, I digress on that. So
All right.
Finn
Next
Balor and
name.
Joe are going to end. So
Okay.
I believe he'll be feuding with Balor. So in my opinion, AJ's going to end up on the worker brand, SmackDown.
See, here's the thing: if they're gonna do the Bullet Club thing with Balor and Doc and Carl Anderson,
Yeah.
I think that whole group is probably gonna be on Raw because that's the big feud.
But it's not the big feud with Roman Reigns. That's the
Got it.
thing. So again, Roman is going to stay on Raw. I guarantee you
Okay.
that. So SmackDown, I'm going for Styles and SmackDown. So I'm still
Okay.
keeping it on there.
Yeah. I'll agree with you then. I'll say SmackDown. Alberto Del Rio.
I would say SmackDown as well.
Dave.
SmackDown.
Okay. This is the first woman we're gonna choose. Alicia Fox.
I would fire her because she hasn't done
Yeah.
anything. But I'm gonna say she's gonna stay on Raw.
You know what? I'm gonna say fire. I don't think we need her. She's a remnant of a bygone era, that Divas
You
era.
beat me to the
But she has
punch.
progressed as a
I think
worker.
they
She
need to
has
kind of
progressed, but she hasn't been used. That's the thing.
right. But when you have a roster of women like Becky
Lack of
Lynch,
charisma.
yeah,
Sasha
Should we say?
Banks,
when you got Sasha
Charlotte.
Banks, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, obviously Bayley's going to be making her way up eventually. It's a matter of time. You've got Asuka obviously waiting in the wings. I mean, there's so much talent with the women's division in WWE. I think having women like Alicia Fox, like we're gonna like spoiler alert, when we get to Rosa Mendez, I'll definitely have something to say about that. But Alicia Fox gone, don't
I
need
think
her.
Michael Hayes has something to say about that.
Fuck him and his ponytail. Um, Apollo Crews.
SmackDown, and this is why I hear that Vince is not very high on Mr. Cruz, especially after he botched that maneuver up with Jericho in their match. And I think Cruz is talented. I think Cruz can get over. I just think Vince McMahon doesn't know what he has with him.
What do you think about the whole smiling babyface aspect of him?
I think he's great, but you need to tell a story with him.
Like I know a lot of people who hate that. They're like, he's this big black guy. He should be menacing. Like I'm like, you can have a happy black. I know that we have the happy black group with the New Day, and you need contrast, but I don't hate it. I mean, eventually he's gonna. Eventually, I think that's going to dig into people's mindset, and you're gonna have to turn him heel just out of necessity.
Eventually,
But
you probably
enjoy it
will
for now. Like
do.
it's
Yeah, he's great what he does. He's amazing. Like he's phenomenal. Like AJ Styles, a guy as big as him
right.
should not be moving the way that he moves, but he can move that way. And I
Mm,
think they need to put more of a parentheses, well, more of an emphasis on his matches rather than basically looking at him as, oh look, he's a white meat babyface. Just watch him work, put him against some great opponents, give him a chance to shine in AAA matches, and that's where you're going to see
right.
Apollo Crews go from. And the problem is, at the moment, with the way that Raw is and the way that Roman Reigns is, you're not going to give him that role. And Vince is going to continue to sour on him.
Right.
So put him on the worker brand, and I believe he will excel into a situation where he will probably
I
be
agree.
their United States champion and then move up to the world championship at some point. But you need to give him time. And the problem being is Vince is a man who's very impatient. And I think with the right mind behind him, he'll get that push that he deserves. I think if you had Shane running SmackDown, there'll be no issue whatsoever.
All right. And I agree, and I'll say SmackDown. Um, Here's one guy that I would actually
Oh,
put on.
can I just say something on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with Brian. Although I would like to say I think he has the potential to be top tier. I really,
He
really
does.
do.
Yeah, he does. He's a
Yeah.
guy that I could see carrying the company eventually.
Yeah.
Uh,
I agree what you said about his physique and stuff like that. And the fact that he does stuff that is beyond his build, if that makes sense.
yeah,
But he's
Right.
a great athlete. He's a great performer, and I would really like to see him top tier.
and he's a great worker as well. And this is the thing that really bugs me. Sometimes Vince can take a look at someone and he will never take a second look. It
Hmm.
takes somebody else to push that person, and then Vince will be like, "Oh, that guy's amazing. Who is he? That was so and so. Remember, you didn't
It
like them
waited to
before."
the bells and whistles in the audience before I noticed you.
Yeah, that was John
Right.
Cena. Remember John Cena? You told him to get a haircut. Oh, like just think about it. Vince McMahon was going to fire John Cena at one point because he thought he wasn't working until Paul
Hmm.
Heyman got a hold of him.
By the way, boring random fact: there's actually a John Cena sticker on my laptop right now.
Very
Nothing
nice.
wrong. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Right, so let's continue.
I've kind of warmed up on Cena. He's kind
Cena,
of
it's actually sorry, I have his sticker, but it's actually a C Nation
ooh la di
sticker.
da.
I respect
Now,
Cena as a worker anyway, but yeah, let's continue.
yeah, and here's a guy that I think is going to be my first pick for Raw, and that's going to be Baron Corbin. I think he's going to be
Yes,
Baron Corbin is new metal enough that I could see Vince wanting to push a guy like him. I
he's
could
he's a guy that you could probably consider to fill the void that the Undertaker would leave. And I know people are going to be
Ooh,
be annoyed.
not to that.
Ooh.
No,
Yeah,
no, no,
that's
no, no.
still
Let me explain before everyone loses their fucking minds. You know,
this just did.
Bold call, Burhan.
let
Bold
me
call.
explain.
Yeah,
He's
we're gonna
considered
put
as
that on record.
someone. He's considered as someone as the talented big guy in a sense.
Is he
The-
talented though? Like he's talented enough. I'll
In
say that.
Vince's mind, he can do enough to basically fake that he's like talented. He can't cut a promo to save his life, but he's going to be played that straight heel character, which has been played at the moment, and
He's got no charisma.
he's agile enough to basically pull off some big moves, quite like what the Undertaker did.
Hmm.
And he has that kind of new metal gimmick going on at the moment, where he's a dark character,
Right.
Yeah, but we're
brooding.
talking about the balance between your physical, ability and your
Vince doesn't.
personality,
Vince
and
doesn't
I
care.
don't think he has any fucking
Vince doesn't
personality.
care if someone can't cut a promo. Look at Roman Reigns; he can barely cut a promo.
Right.
Every time you
Vince
put,
McMahon is very much a looks guy,
yeah,
so
and
I think
Corbin's got the
he'll
look.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
No,
got that look.
I just think he's a boring wrestler. Sorry.
Oh no, I agree, and he's like I said, he's gonna be a guy that's gonna be I think a heel foil for Roman Reigns. I could see by the end of the year him and Roman having like a thing going on.
he's in
Like
a
I
similar role to someone like Test.
yes, exactly. He is basically the modern day Test. Andrew
Yes,
Martin, yeah.
basically the
I
guy
say
that who's got a nice look about him,
I
but he
call.
can't.
He's going to stay where he is because I really there's no offense, and I wouldn't say it to his face because he'll rape
Mm.
me alive, but I uh, I just can't
You don't
seem.
get it. I understand.
No, but that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the great thing about guys like Vince McMahon likes to push. No one else gets it, but Vince loves them.
Yeah, and we'll get to a specific name, but the opposite comes about. But I say Raw. I could see him kind of being almost like New Metal Sheamus. He's a
Yeah,
guy that Vince I think would push against Roman Reigns.
he'll
So I'm
get
saying Raw.
he'll get like an IC title run. He'll probably get a tag title run, and he will get like a world title run eventually. But he'll be the guy that he holds it for a few months before Roman comes back to take it back from him for a long reign.
Right. He does seem like a guy that would benefit probably from this roster split
Yes,
the
You
most.
said long reign, and you said no pun intended afterwards.
yes.
Disappointing.
Exactly. Dave, are you agreeing with us that he's Raw bound?
Yeah, I just like I said, I wouldn't say it to his face, but I think he's average. Sorry.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So that's
Here's
where Raw he'll shine on Raw.
right. Speaking of shining, let's talk about somebody that I think is going to shine on SmackDown, and that's going to be Becky Lynch.
Yes,
I think a woman like her could carry that
I
brand.
think she will be the main event woman on SmackDown. You'll have Charlotte on Raw being the main kind of woman there. You'll have Becky on SmackDown being the person who can put on some great matches with other female talent, and she'll probably get like a run with the World Championship, the females World Championship at some point.
Yeah, the SmackDown. Yeah, the new women's title.
Yeah.
Dave, do you agree with us? Do you think she's going to be SmackDown or Raw?
I can actually see her being Raw.
I think she deserves better, but I can also see them thinking that she could be somebody that can probably be a good.
I think
For a
she
lot of.
punches above her weight, and I think if she was, afforded the luxury of trying to punch above her weight, that she might surprise us.
Mm,
As I said, she's someone you've thrown her in some amazing matches with workers, and she's shined. She was someone on NXT where you watched her like destroy women on that roster. Here, she's become the kind of the worker bee of the roster. So I'm saying SmackDown too because I think she will have the potential to be the top woman on that roster.
oh yeah, definitely. I think she's got a good solid fan base to her, and I think they could really take advantage of that.
Yes,
That
Um,
word I like to say again. She's a grinder.
oh, you trust me in more ways than one, but Tish.
but I'm
Um,
shish.
let's go on to somebody that kind of worries me, and not him himself, but what they may end up doing with him. Big Kaz.
Big Cass, eventually, if they do what I think they're going to do, I don't think they're ready to do it yet, but eventually they will end up splitting him and Enzo up. But I'm going to say
Mm,
him and Cass are going to remain on Raw as a
yeah,
tag team.
I think they've got yeah, definitely as a tag team. I think they're gonna move. They're gonna stay on Raw,
Yeah, but they've
but
got time.
yeah, I hope that because there's like I said, there's rumors out there that they see a lot of potential in Kaz as a singles guy, and I think if they do that,
Vince is loving him at the moment. One,
right,
Cass is done something which not many guys can do. He can actually cut a great promo whilst being deadpan at the same time,
and he's 7 foot tall.
as he
He's
lets
like
us know, and you can't teach
yeah,
that.
and you can't teach that. He's almost like he's almost like Matt Morgan almost in a sense.
Not really, because he can actually do a lot more than Morgan. Morgan, and no offense to Morgan, he's probably going to beat me up for saying this. He can't work, where I think Big Cass can.
Mm.
And also, I think Big Cass is very credible on the mic, more so than someone like Roman Reigns. As I said, he seems very deadpan on the mic, but he can cut a decent promo. And I believe what they want to do is they want to kind of keep him with Enzo for a while, so that Enzo can pass on his kind of promo skills onto Cass to give him a bit more energy. And eventually, you probably will see Kaz in the main event, but I don't think it will be on SmackDown.
Mm.
So I think you're going to keep him on Raw. He's going to be on there with Enzo for now. They'll probably get a good tag title run at some point because they're way over. I mean, God, man, they're up there with the New Day at the moment.
And we'll get to the New Day shortly because that's the next name on the list. But I do agree, Raw, as long as they keep them together,
Yeah.
as long as
I
possible.
say sorry, I disagree. I say top tier. I think his promos aren't great, but there's something in there, and he's a solid performer.
No, that's what I
So
said. They
I
are
say
gonna throw him in there eventually as a single star, but not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, I think he still needs to cook a little bit more. I think he needs to kind of get the rub from
I,
Enzo.
I
Cause,
think I think he could cut his teeth. I honestly do. If he jumped straight in there, I think he could cut his teeth.
And he did main event. He did main event an episode of Raw as well, even though
yeah,
that was kind of short because he didn't even get in the ring before Ambrose started beating on Chris Jericho. But still,
I think he's in the
Plus,
top.
without sounding like
Go ahead.
odd, he fills his tights really well.
No, you know what? For a big guy, he's not big like the Big Show where he's just a blob. For 7 foot tall, the guy is very well defined. So
yes.
I think I think that's a plus for
And
him. Like
he's also a guy who's had a couple of injuries,
yeah.
and still looks the way that he does. So
Yeah, it's not like Baron Corbin who's fucking has a receding hairline and like no abs to speak of. Like
yeah,
he just looks bizarre. But
he does.
Kaz,
Hang on 1 second. I have a receding headline, but I do have sorry, receding hairline, but I do have abs. So
Is your
back to
name
what I
yeah,
was
Baron
saying.
but
Corbin, Dave?
I do wonder though, when you see people of this stature and this size, and right, it's me being a little bit stupid and cautious and stuff like that. Well, when I
right.
say cautious, but like, who else remembers Andre the Giant?
But
And
Oh
again,
no. There are big lumpy 7 foot tall giants, but I think Kaz has a leg up over Baron Corbin in that he has that defined
yes.
he has that build that you don't even have to double take to
oh no, but what I'm saying is, when I said who else remembers Andre the Giant, which is like 7 foot tall, is that natural? Can your like heart support that?
Gigantism is a different thing. Gigantism, if it's not treated, can actually cause brain hemorrhages and heart attacks and even strokes.
right.
No, but so can be. Sounds terrible, and sorry, Dolph Lundgren and Rocky Four, but so can be really tall, believe it or not.
Oh no. There are some disadvantages. Kevin Nash, for instance. I mean, his legs are pretty much they're pretty much balsa wood at this point.
Yeah, the dude could tear his quad just by cutting a speech.
Right. When you're a bigger guy, you've got a lot more muscle to move around, and if you take one false step, you're fucked.
Yeah,
So yeah, but Kaz looks like he takes himself in a lot better shape than Corbin. Corbin just looks. He almost looks like dry. Like he looks like he's constantly thirsty. Like he's sunk in his facial features. He's like pale. It's just like
he looks
he.
like crack cocaine is a hell
There
of a
should be a
drug.
bloke in the water. So in the water, there should be a bloke in the corner with a water gun
He
squirting
looks
him.
like he was a kid at school that used to sniff the glue.
Mm.
But anyway, let's digress off that. So, Dave, where are
Let's
you saying Cass is going?
Middle tier.
middle tier.
Raw or SmackDown?
You got to pick a brand.
SmackDown.
Okay.
If they split him up, I say SmackDown. If they keep him with Enzo Amore, Raw.
If they give him more stuff to do, like more, high profile stuff, then I would,
I think
say,
the two of them are
go
way
on.
too important to the tag team division to split them up. That's me.
Yeah, they are going to need more beefing up of the tag team division if they're going to go with this idea of separate tag teams. Which
Sorry, by the way, when I say middle tier, upper tier, and lower tier, that's just the just for you, Miguel. That's the soccer terminology coming out of me.
Okay, let's go for the next one.
All right. And this one I think we're gonna have to lump all three of these guys in just because it's easier. But Big E, but let's lump in Xavier and Kofi, the whole New Day.
They're going
I
to
say
split them
Raw.
up. They're going to split them up.
Oh
I think.
shit, yeah. Dave, you don't remember the old draft, but WWE has a tendency to where they have big event drafts like
Wait. Hang on 1 second. Draft. Do you mean like,
An NFL
NBA?
draft. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
basically what they're gonna do when they actually debut the split brands is they're gonna have an episode devoted to a draft where they're going to periodically throughout the show randomly choose who goes where. Like they'll do like a fake like cycle thing, and then one guy will get sent to Raw, and then will get sent to SmackDown.
Yeah.
They'll do a whole to do about it.
Is it actually real, or are they just going,
I
these
think the talent
positions
don't
were?
know. The talent don't know where they're going to go.
No, what I'm
Kofi.
saying is it's actually real when they do this draft, like, just for you, Miguel, soccer and NFL, NHL, or is it like preordained in the first place?
It's no, it's preordained in the first place. The powers that be know where guys are going to go. It's not randomized.
But
The
the guys
talent,
don't.
yeah, the talent don't know. They keep that a secret because
Oh,
they want to get the actual reactions. Although that did backfire on them one year when they moved JR from Raw to SmackDown.
He
That
got
was
really no, but they did that on purpose because JR said something really silly, which was that he didn't want to go to SmackDown on. I think it was on the internet. He said, "I'm not. They wouldn't move announcers. They don't care about the announcers." And then as a rib, they basically did that, and then JR got really pissed.
oh, you could tell that when they
Yeah,
announced it that he was moving, he was stone faced. Like he wanted to murder somebody.
yeah.
It was
And then
but
afterwards, he was like,
yeah,
"Fuck,
it's
fine." Yeah,
yeah, I mean it's not it's predetermined by the powers that be, but the talent don't know about it. And it used to be that they would actually have whoever was running the brands come out and announce it.
so so,
yeah.
so the guys or the blokes above them who pull the strings, they know where it's going, but the actual, poor pun intended, players don't.
Yeah, they don't
Yes,
know where they're gonna go until it's announced on the show live.
exactly. So let's continue on. New Day,
All right.
aka Big E. I'm
Sorry.
seeing that they're going to be splitting them up. I think Big E and Xavier are going to end up going on to Raw, and Kofi is going to be having a singles on SmackDown.
Hmm. I am going to say I think if they are going to split them, I think Xavier will probably be on Raw because I think he's probably the most outlandish of them. He's got the most energy. I think you'll probably see Biggie on SmackDown, and honestly, I think Kofi gets the axe. I wouldn't do it personally, but he's been in the company long enough. I think they're gonna get rid of him. I
I
don't
know.
see a.
I think they're going to need him to build up the main event roster depth on SmackDown
Hmm.
because he's been a main
See,
event before.
I have to
I
say,
think he could basically do it. He's well over, and I don't see them cutting someone who's extremely over. Not at the moment.
I think no. I think Kofi is over because of the New Day gimmick. But
I don't.
remember where he came from before the
Yeah,
New
but
Day.
before he was doing amazingly well in a feud with Randy Orton before Randy Orton got that
But
feud
that was
nixed.
2009.
Yeah, but that
That was
feud got
that
nixed.
that's a long time ago, mate.
Kofi was on the cusp of main eventing, and the only reason that didn't happen was because of Mr. Orton. I believe that
Oh, I understand that, but it's yeah.
Kofi, if he's left to his own devices, I believe is going to actually main event. I think SmackDown.
Really?
He's the one. He's the one out of New Day, in my opinion, who will end up in SmackDown, and he will end up straight in the main event. Imagine Kofi versus AJ Styles, or Kofi versus Sami Zayn, or Kofi versus
I,
Kevin
I,
Owens.
sorry, Bohan, I can't say it.
Put him with the
I
worker
think it.
bees.
I
Nothing
think
to
if
prove
they
in it.
do keep him around, it is going to be on Smack as a grinder, basically. What Dave says. I think he's going to be the guy that you put against main event guys, but he's never going to be seen as a main event person. He's going to be
Well,
one of those guys, those
could be
fan
up
favorites
mid.
that you put in.
Yeah, but he'll probably be an upper mid carder that will probably get the title at some point, even if it's transitionary.
I see him fitting the third guy role. You know how whenever they do like 6-man tags, they need an obligatory third guy, like a third babyface. I can see him filling that spot and maybe getting an obligatory like mini feud with a top guy to put somebody over. But no, I don't think. I mean,